At the turn of the century, Nigerians abroad began to emerge as a significant tour de force, rising to prominent positions in government, with some returning to exact a level of change in Nigeria. Notably, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, former Minister of Finance in Nigeria and now the current Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Akinwunmi Adesina, President of the African Development Bank, Wale Adeyemo, U.S. Deputy Treasury Secretary, and Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Godfrey Onyema, proving that Nigerians in the diaspora have, over the decades, achieved cabinet-level roles both in Nigeria and internationally. Yet, this diaspora community has been greatly ignored in Nigeria and refused from participation in local elections. The question this video is looking to address is, do Nigerians in the diaspora deserve to lend their voice to the political reconstruction of the country? Hello again, and welcome to NaTV. If you're a returning viewer, it is nice to see you again. But if you're new here, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll be updated when we post a future video, and leave a comment below. It's always a delight hearing from you. In this video, we ask the question why Nigerians in the diaspora are not given a local political voice in Nigeria, and we offer 5 arguments to justify why Nigerians abroad need to be included in local policies. We've got a lot of grounds to cover and not enough time, so let's jump right in. The financial strength of Nigerians. First and second generation Nigerians abroad who have direct connections to Nigeria have been famous for achieving international acclaim in education, the tech sector, banking and finance, media, politics, sports, entertainment, and medicine. Collectively, these diaspora community have a net worth of hundreds of billions of dollars in North America alone. Nigerians in the diaspora have also been great advocates of change and improvement in Nigeria, influencing the country in one way or another, politically and otherwise. For example, during the EndSARS movement, in order to sustain the rally, Nigerians in the diaspora sent over 100 million naira back to Nigeria to support the demonstration, funds that assisted in purchasing sustenance, awareness, and medical aid in a matter of days, as a way to show support, solidarity, and camaraderie to their fatherland. On the Global Remittances Index, Nigeria leads Sub-Saharan Africa in terms of diaspora remittances, with about $25 billion in 2019, second only to Egypt, leaving Nigeria in 6th place globally. For comparison, in 2019, China remitted almost $60 billion, while India did about $70 billion, these two countries having over 6 times the Nigerian population. If at 200 million population, Nigeria can remit over 20 billion, imagine what a population of 1 billion Nigerians might have been able to galvanize financially. Over 40 years ago, when China was starting its advancement and development strategy, it knew that it couldn't rely solely on foreign banks and the international communities. So they struck a deal with Chinese in the diaspora to invest in the local development strategies. Chinese in the diaspora invested about $80 billion, totaling over 70% of the country's foreign direct investment in the 1980s. If Nigeria had a trustworthy government with transparency and a required financial aid for projects that could boost the economy of the country, they could look to Nigerians abroad for support and would be able to galvanize as much as China did in the 80s. This annual $25 billion remittance helps fund education, healthcare, welfare, and other forms of support that improves the living standards of Nigerians at home. Remember, education, healthcare, and other social welfare are supposed to be taken care of by the government, yet it has been left in the hands of Nigerians abroad. So if Nigerians overseas are doing part of the job of the government with this level of diaspora involvement, shouldn't they be able to lend their voice to local policies? Nigerian diasporans not having a vote is a disservice to them and to Nigeria. The foreign diplomatic influence of Nigerians. There are first and second generation Nigerians abroad who hold high positions of power in the global political landscape and exert a level of influence internationally. Like Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who is the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Akinwunmi Adesina, the president of the African Development Bank, Adebayo Ogunlesi, the chairman and managing partner of Global Infrastructure Partners, who also served as an economic advisor to former US President Donald Trump and owns a large stake in Gatwick Airport. Amina J. Mohammed, the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations and former Nigerian Minister of Environment. Wale Adeyemo, the US Deputy Secretary of the Treasury under President Joe Biden. And Joy Ogu, the former Nigerian ambassador to the United Nations and former Foreign Minister of Nigeria. These Nigerians have made significant contributions and continue to influence policies and decisions at international levels. Yet, if there was an election held in Nigeria, they wouldn't be allowed to vote unless they returned home. Let's even turn it down a notch and look at other industries. Recently, Lieutenant Victor Agunbiade was honored with the U.S. Navy and Marine Corps Development Medal for his remarkable accountability in managing $68 million, which constituted 70% of the overseas dispersing volume, while serving as a dispersing officer in the Comptroller Department at Camp Lemonnier in Djibouti from October 2019 to July 2020. Agunbiade achieved 100% accountability during 6 thorough inspections and independent audits, with 0 discrepancies. In contrast, it's difficult to point to a specific Nigerian politician who can claim a similar level of transparency and integrity in financial management. Corruption and financial mismanagement have often plagued Nigerian politics, making Lieutenant Agunbiade's achievement particularly noteworthy and exemplary. Nigerians have gained recognition in influential sectors across the U.S. For instance, Pierlana Igbokwe is another trailblazer, serving as president of Universal Television, making her the first African woman to lead a major U.S. studio. Dr. Bennett Omalu was the first to identify and publish research on chronic traumatic encephalopathy in American football players, a discovery highlighted in the film Concussion, where he was portrayed by Will Smith. In law, Aimime Umana made history as the first black woman to be elected president of the Harvard Law Review in its 131-year existence. While these individuals can engage in discussions on U.S. political affairs, they lack direct influence on local political matters in Nigeria. The global achievement of Nigerians. Nigeria's greatest asset is its diaspora population. Research shows that the largest Nigerian communities abroad are found in the US, UK, Italy, Germany, and Canada, while other significant populations exist in South Africa, France, Ireland, China, and the Netherlands. Many Nigerians also migrate to other African countries, though reliable statistics are often lacking. For example, in 2015, South African data revealed that over 10,000 Nigerians held temporary residence permits, with 25% on visitor visas and 355 having permanent residency. However, data from other African nations is less detailed. Even with the success of Nigerians abroad, the ongoing disconnect at multiple levels is painful to watch. There is no comprehensive national policy to fully integrate diasporans into Nigeria's socio-political and economic framework. A major shift is needed to replace the current scatterbrained approach to diaspora inclusion. It is a significant injustice that so many Nigerians are overlooked, causing frustration and concern. Nigerians in the diaspora are among the most highly educated immigrant groups in the US. In South Africa, most African doctors are Nigerians, and the country even has a Nigerian Doctors Forum. In sports, a Nigerian holds the world heavyweight boxing title, while Giannis Antetokounmpo, whose roots are Nigerian, is the NBA's most valuable player. In the arts, Nigerian author Ngozi Chimamanda Adichie is a global literary icon, and a number of Nigerian actors, such as Chiwetel Ejiofor, David Oyelowo, Damson Idris, and John Boyega, have made significant marks in Hollywood. Additionally, musicians like Asha, Wale, Rotimi, and Jidena continue to elevate the Nigerian flag in their respective fields. While some of these individuals are second-generation Nigerians, they still proudly represent Nigeria in their countries of residence. Other African countries have it. Other African countries, such as South Africa, Kenya, Botswana, Rwanda, and 18 other African nations are allowed to actively participate in local elections and politics. Imagine being a Nigerian abroad and watching over 20 African countries participate in their respective countries' general elections and knowing that this right is not afforded to you. And this is not to say that Nigerians abroad haven't fought for political initiatives for Nigeria. The Nigerian diaspora is the largest among African populations abroad. If other African nations can involve their diaspora in domestic policies, then Nigeria should be able to as well, especially considering that Nigeria's diaspora remittances, amounting to $25 billion, far exceed those of other African countries. This figure is nearly equal to the GDP of countries like Togo, Burundi, Eswatini, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Lesotho, South Sudan, Djibouti, the Central African Republic, and Gambia. These countries all have presidents, budgets, and military forces, giving them a considerable voice in African continental matters. For instance, each sends 5 representatives from their national parliaments to the Pan-African Parliament in Midrand. Yet none of these representatives are from the diaspora, despite the significant contributions they make to their home nations. For example, remittances from South Sudan's diaspora account for 36% of its GDP, while Nigeria's remittances make up about 8%. This underscores the critical economic impact of diasporas, though their political influence and representation remain minimal. During the EndSARS demonstrations in 2020, Nigerians rallied all over the world, galvanizing their physical and social media presence to march in Italy, Germany, France, America, Canada, and other countries. Nigerians in the diaspora have fought hard for their fatherland, going as far as occupying the Nigerian embassies in these foreign nations, speaking with the Nigerian ambassadors and representatives abroad to come to a rapprochement that will ameliorate the local situations. During the recent 2023 elections, Nigerians abroad campaigned for their favored political leader, advocating for Peter Obi and Dati Baba Ahmed, with the assurance that these leaders would help bring about a much-needed change in the country. Unfortunately, their efforts were subverted, and even though Nigerians at home advocate for the inclusion of Nigerians in the diaspora into local politics, the Nigerian government is slow to respond. It's just common sense. The excuses the lawmakers and INEC often cite are inadequate data, cost concerns, and uncertainty over who should vote and which countries should be involved. But if these are genuine excuses, how can over 20 African countries find a workaround but the Nigerian government cannot? Could this be because it would be much difficult to rig an election overseas? Nigeria has taken steps to establish a diaspora commission and has set up committees in both chambers of the National Assembly. However, the Diaspora Commission Board has not yet been formed, and the committee members remain largely unknown to diaspora stakeholders, with little noticeable impact. Additionally, no efforts have been made to conduct a census of Nigerians abroad, and the Commission has been slow in integrating the diaspora community into local engagement. Nigerians in the diaspora are key to Africa's progress, but what is lacking is the collaboration between African leaders and various Nigerian diaspora groups to engage with organizations like the African Union, African Development Bank, Pan-African Parliament, and regional bodies. This would help to harness the expertise and professionalism of Nigerians abroad. The current approach of engaging only a few hand-picked diaspora members, selected by diplomats, has shown little success over the past 2 decades. Therefore, new solutions are needed to improve this process. So, we propose the following solutions. You can argue that the diasporan should be allocated slots at the National Assembly and each State House of Assembly. All Nigerians in the diaspora who are of voting age should be allowed to vote. Nigerians in the diaspora need to be on a database at every High Commission. Nigerians working or doing business abroad should be encouraged to join chambers of commerce between the host countries and Nigeria. So there you have it, folks. Our response to the fact that Nigerians abroad are not afforded the right to participate in the local political happenings. What suggestions do you think should have made the list? Please leave your comments below. And until next time, friends, stay safe out there in the streets. Peace.